Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of a show con Natasha and Melina. Today, I'm so excited because I'm here chatting with somebody very special and very important. He's gained a lot of recognition and a huge following on social media like Twitter and TikTok for all the good deeds that he's doing, helping out the less fortunate in South America. Well, here he is. Welcome, Murphs Life, otherwise known as Aaron.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm great, Aaron. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a crazy week, but yeah, I'm doing good.
So right before you came here to jump to the interview, you told me that you were dropping off some supplies to some more families, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So for those who don't know you, I want you to give us an introduction of yourself.
So yeah, my name is Aaron Murphy. Basically, I'm just a backpacker, I enjoy traveling, living just day by day. I love living where I don't know where I'll be tomorrow. But currently right now, I've had friends that were always like, you need to do TikToks, because to learn Spanish, I've been traveling for South America about a year and a half now. And to learn Spanish, I started doing YouTube videos where I would document Venezuelans. Just something that I found was really fascinating, and just a really fun way for me to be able to learn Spanish. And so what's changed it recently, though, is a couple months ago I threw up a first TikTok video, and it just kind of blew up, and people started sending me money. So now basically what I do is it's something I've always wanted to do, which is kind of strategically inject money in these third world countries, impoverished communities where they have no ways of getting ahead. There's no banks out here that are going to give loans to a lot of these people. And when you're making $5 a day, it's impossible, especially when you have kids, to pay your bills, your rent, your energy bill, food for your kids, school supplies, and to be able to get out of that rut that so many people are in down here. So yeah, so basically what I'm doing now is I'm here in South America. I live out of my backpack. Sometimes I'll stay in people's closets on floors, and with money, I'll build small restaurants, food carts, little, for people who have land, I'll build them like big chicken farms. We'll plant crops, and just seeing like if we can build these micro economies and show people exactly where their donations are going. So that's basically what I do.
So that last part is exactly what I wanted to touch upon next, that you said you give them donations directly. And that's something that I love, that your work, unlike other charities and organizations, which is nice and all, but we don't really get to see where the money that we donate is going. And with you, we do. It goes directly to you, and you go directly to those who need it, and you provide them with the resources they need, like food or a warm bed, and you help these people who are less fortunate than us currently in Ecuador. And that's just something that I really like, that you document it and we're able to see who we're helping and how we're helping them, because a lot of people
Yeah.
would love to see that. And
Yeah, no, it's been really cool. Yeah, and it's not just Ecuador too. Like, it's a lot of Venezuelans. I'm sure you know the situation with Venezuela. So thousands of them are passing through this little town, and I'm on the border of Colombia. So every once in a while, I'll cross into the border illegally, just because the borders are crossed. You have to go through the trochas, and we'll do videos like in Colombia. We'll help out. The majority are Venezuelans, really, just because there's just so many of them that are passing through with like kids that are really dehydrated and starving, and they're just looking for a better life. So, but I mean, yeah, it's kind of done stuff in Peru as well over the border.
yeah, so
But
like you said, you've crossed the border a few times already, some of that which we get to see in some of your videos on your social media channels. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, like about what we don't get to see? Because there are some parts where like you have to put your camera away because there's guards or whatnot. Can you tell us what we don't see?
yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of comments too on one of the videos where people think like I'm giving away trails, and it's a lot different down here. It's a complete different situation than like, say, the border of the United States between the U.S. and Mexico. So I'm basically here, like, they understand the situation. That first off, like when Corona hit, it basically just like, 4 months everything was shut down, and people down here don't have savings. And so just literally like millions of people were starving to death. You couldn't go outside. And then on top of that, there's like millions of, Venezuelan immigrants that have been, I think it was like 3 million that left since 2019. So, and the way that they made money was asking people in the streets, like selling little suckers, chupetas, for a couple coins. So they kind of understand the situation that people kind of need to pass. So along all of these trochas, these trails, there will be military police officers that let people pass. And the only thing is, it's like a really gray area where not supposed to be filming it. And the reason is, though, like a lot of times, like why we will want to like avoid certain police and military is just a lot of them are just, I mean, you know how it is, like every country, there's just really shitty or crappy, people in government offices and I guess these kind of positions where they will have sticky fingers, they feel that they have the right to be able to people will take what little money they have. And this happens all the time with my friends down here is like, they will take their last $20 they have and they will want to go in and cross into Colombia, for example, and they'll buy like a popular thing is meat. So they'll go there with their backpack, they'll cross the river through this huge canyon, they'll get into Ipiales, which is the city in Colombia, they'll buy like hot dogs, steaks, pork chops, things like that, where they can make like 25 American cents, it's US currency in Ecuador, like per these meat packages. And then they'll come back across, or even coffee, like Colombian coffee, which is quite a bit cheaper when you cross the border, come back here, and then like police will be like, hey, we need to tax you, and they'll sometimes take like half of their stuff or even all of it. So it's just, that's kind of the situation. I don't know if I kind of went off subject there.
Well, thank you for getting a little bit more into detail about that. So you've helped so many people out, some of which you just told us a little bit about right now. You've experienced so many different things because you've been living their life kind of a little bit. Like you've been 24 hours with a Venezuelan family on the streets, things like that. So I just wanted to know what, in your opinion, is one of the hardest experiences or things that you've had to witness so far?
Hardest experiences is probably seeing, I don't know, like there's just like so many of them. Like a lot of them would be like children when they come through, and like you could just tell that these kids are completely dehydrated and exhausted. Like another example would be like, I just uploaded my last YouTube video a few days ago where I'm at the very front of the border, like one of the trails where people are coming from, like the Venezuelans are coming, just crossed through Colombia and they're getting into Ecuador for the first time. And literally like this blind woman, she was traveling, like from Venezuela, looking for a new life. She gets there, and because it's a crazy, like you just get out of it and you're on the freeway, and she just like passes out of like dehydration. And sometimes it's really rough. Like I see that all the time. Just seeing like blind people in wheelchairs. I was in Cartagena in Colombia for a few weeks, and I met some really cool Venezuelans there. And I was literally living in the park, like taking naps and sleeping in the park, kind of by the castle touristic area. And I mean, for example, like this was like really heartbreaking at the same time. For example, there was like a bunch of children, they're all homeless, like these immigrants. It's like a group of 50, 60 people. But the coolest thing was like at the end of the night, like mothers with their children on their backs, they were washing windows. Like some of the husbands or boyfriends would be like rappers on buses, on the beaches. And they would come back at night, and the people who wouldn't have money, or the hungry kids, they would kind of put the money together to this kid in a wheelchair. I say kid, but he's like probably 34 years old. And he would like count the money and say, okay, who needs the money? Who needs to stay in a hostel tonight? Like really rest. You know what I mean? And this was something that like, I could say heartbreaking, but it was also like such a beautiful thing to witness. It's all I can say is like, it's a marvelous event. And I think like the saddest thing is I was in a grocery store not too long ago, and one of the women that was there in this group, she actually was there with her husband and little kid, and runs into me, and she told me that he ended up passing away. I'm not sure why, but yeah, this guy in a wheelchair didn't have legs, and he was kind of like the ringleader between them. So that was pretty sad too. But yeah, I mean, there's always anything like when there's really hungry kids is always rough, or people that are like wheelchairs, or blind people that are starving to death. That's probably the roughest, but it's something that I see on a daily basis. So
We can only imagine. I follow your videos and all your channels, so I see everything you post. I saw that video of the blind woman passing out. One of my takeaways too is that these people who are a lot less fortunate and have less to offer are also those who are so much more willing to help. Like, you stayed with a few families even, and they don't have a lot to offer in terms of food or bed and whatnot, yet they're still willing to help. And I just think that's amazing.
yeah, Yeah, no, that's it, it really is. I mean, it's I think when you run into this kind of like, so for example, actually kind of two examples yesterday of this. Was so we're just opening up one of our main restaurants called the Gringo Loco, and this is able to give about 6 7 people in my videos like proper, employment. And then but the thing is, like, we saw two, it's against the freeway, so I saw two Venezuelans walking by, um and like they asked for food, so I gave them two hamburgers. They were kind of our first clients, and it was just like they would not let me not allow them to clean the restaurant. They just grabbed the brooms, they started mopping and sweeping, and they started washing dishes. They started cleaning the outside of the restaurant. It's just really cool. Like, yeah, I mean that happens all the time too. That it's not captured on camera, but people just want to be able to give back as much as they can.
They just can't take it for nothing. They have to be able to pay you somehow. So I was curious to know, why is it so important for you to be helping these people right now?
I mean, that's kind of a good question. I feel, I don't know, I could have like three different responses from that, on those kind of questions in your life at a certain point when you're just like doing something kind of like this. But I think like the main reason was I spent my entire 20s just partying my ass off, like just a lot of alcohol. I've always worked in music, like in nightclubs, music festivals, and it was just like a lot of alcohol. And I mean, like party drugs as well, I'll just say that. And so when I was like 27, I started going blind in one of my eyes, and it just freaked me out. All of a sudden, I like was just like bottling up this fear where I started getting a lot of anxiety, like severe anxiety. And I've always been like the type of person where people would tell me about their panic attacks, and I'd be like, "Yo, like, chill out. Like, what is this? Like, until I got my first panic attack, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm dying, from like this fear of kind of going blind. And actually, I haven't really told this to anyone except like close friends, but it started getting worse. And then I remember one day I started coughing, and there was blood in my hand. Like my tongue was bleeding, above my mouth was bleeding. And I mean, like, I would smoke like 2 packs of cigarettes. I would have like dip. I was always on like jewel pens, just like a very addictive personality. And so anyway, like it got to a point where I had such bad anxiety I couldn't even be in a car, and just really like shitty for me because I'm a very social person. um and so I was like at this point where I was like, you know what, um I'm gonna go sober. And so like I cut out like alcohol, all drugs. I just cut everything out, like cigarettes, and I went vegan for a year. And then after like I went kind of sober, I might be kind of getting this timeline off, but basically what happened, I had my 1 year goal, and then I went sober, and then I was like, all right, I can kind of party again. And I partied, and it was like I mixed a couple things, and I had a near death experience where, I mean, it's very personal for me, where like it was like 3 4 hours of like my darkest hour of like I'm dying, like from like 2 to 5 in the morning, like fighting my hardest to like, it was disgusting, like I was vomiting, like I couldn't move, like it was like the worst feeling of my life. And kind of what happened was I kind of just like let go, and I left my body, and it was like a very surreal experience where like I walked through my bedroom door, and I saw friends, like one of my girlfriends laying on my friend's back, giving him a massage. And I saw like I want to say spirits. Like I had a bar in my kitchen living room, and people were like going like this, like trying to grab these drinks, like boom, 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 boom. And I ended up going like back into my body, and this is like the very dumbed down version of this, but it was very like profound, like where I communicated with certain entities, I'll say. And I'll just kind of leave it at that because it gets really weird. And for all I know, it could be in my head, but this was like a very profound experience for me. And so I finally go back into my body, which was a super fight for me. And like, I like come up like this, and I feel so disgusting. Like I wanted to be dead again, like with this feeling. I get up, my body tells me like I need water. I need a lot of water. I open up the door, and I see this girl giving the massage on the back, which is like very profound for me too, because like I was in my bed the whole time. And it was just like, whoa. And then I like get freaked out. I like didn't want to look at the bottles because I like had that, seeing these people. Um, and anyway, it was from that like experience, I could never take out of my head the fact that like like for me, no longer it was about like just my reality changed. Like money doesn't matter anymore. Like houses don't matter, cars don't matter, like nothing. Like it was, I was in this weird, like, you know, this was like 3 years ago. And so now kind of like out here is, it's just like, it's a very personal thing for me. It's, and I've been doing this for a long time. Like I just started doing TikTok a few months ago, which is kind of weird for me still. Cause I like, it's always been like a personal thing. Like I'm not like much for like, let me show you, you know, what I'm doing on a camera. Um, but honestly, like I right now, kind of to answer that would be, I believe I enjoy following Christianity right now, even though I'm not a very, like, I guess you could say religious person, but I enjoy like the basis of what I was raised on, like following the example of Christ. And but at the same time, like if there is such thing as reincarnation, I believe that we should all be striving to live a life where this should be our last life, you know. And yeah, just living out here, it's just like, it's so real for me. Like I feel so much more real being with these families, like living with them for 24 hours and like sleeping on dirt floors and like watching them hug and kiss each other and smile and laugh is so much more profound to me than like being with a bunch of friends talking about like, I can't leave because I need my fucking Xanax, you know. It's like, sorry, I'm swearing there on your thing here, but it's very like out here, these people, I ask people all the time, like, what do you have like anxiety medication? And all of these immigrants here that have like children that are starving to death, like these insane stresses, they're like, what is a panic attack? And I have to explain to them. And like 99% of them, like, I don't have panic attacks, you know? So there's kind of like three different subjects I'm going on here. But for me, it's like, I'm experiencing life out here. I love it. Like I'm witnessing so much love. There's a lot of love out here. It's not like people watch these videos and go, oh my gosh, I want to just help them and send them all my money. It's like, no, like these people have God. These people like found, like they have God with them. It's not about this chase for money. Like I want to give them money. You know what I mean? Like I've never talked about this like on any videos, but yeah, it's like, this is, I just feel like I'm living life out here. If that kind of answers your question right now.
Yeah, well, Aaron, thank you so much for sharing that very life-defining moment with us. I know that you haven't talked about that before, so I really appreciate that you felt like you could hear, you felt comfortable enough here with me and with our audience here. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And then to continue on what you were saying about how they have God with them, all these people that are out here in Latin America, South America, the ones that you're around and helping, that's something that I also really witnessed in your videos as well. Even from the smallest children, they're praying and they say that they thank God and they have that with them. And it's just something that really stands out to me because being born and raised here in America, honestly, not everybody's like that over here, right? So it's something crazy to
Yeah.
think that even the smallest children over there are so grateful for any little thing and they just pray and they know that God will deliver to them what they need. I just find that really special.
Yeah, no, it is. It's super special. It's like, it's it's almost kind of like a I don't even know the analogy for it, but it's like when you are deprived materialism, when you are really deprived, that it's almost a blessing in disguise where where you can develop more of your spirituality. And I'm a true believer that like when you are forced to like grow in your spirit, you have more joy that you don't realize. You do have more joy. There's like, which is why I see like so many more like huggings and smilings and laughter, you know, that I've really saw in the United States. Like, of course, like I'm showing in the videos, like kind of like the things that really pull at the heartstrings. But like when you look at it from like a 30-day spectrum and living in someone's life there, you know, it's a complete different story. It's just something that you have to kind of experience for yourself. But it is, yeah. It's a beautiful thing, like seeing children that are like, no, I want to say the prayer tonight for us to find food. You know what I mean? Like that's so crazy to think about when I'm like shoot, when I was, I don't know, like 12, 13 years old, I was not thinking about like really like, you know, it's almost like a scene out of a movie, you know, like I don't know. It's crazy. It's really it's something that is really hard that I'm still like trying to fathom myself by witnessing this.
So I wanted to ask you, Aaron, to please share with all of us here where we can donate and how we can help.
Yeah, of course. Anyone can donate to Venmo is Murphs Life 24. Um, and then my PayPal, if they're not in the US, is Murphs Life, just Murphs Life. And then if you want to do anything monthly, it's patreon.com/Murphs Life. Those
Cool.
are the
Thank you so much for all your time. Murphs Life, Aaron.